Every great story has a beginning, and the story of the gun begins over 1,000 years ago. Today, we are going to travel through time. We will learn the history of one of the most powerful and controversial inventions in human history, the gun. From a simple accident in an ancient laboratory to the battlefields of the world wars, the gun has changed our world forever. Are you ready? Let's begin. Our story begins in China around the 9th century. At that time, Chinese scientists called alchemists were doing experiments. They were trying to make a medicine for living forever, an immortality potion. But accidentally, they discovered something completely different. They mixed 3 ingredients: sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate. And suddenly, boom, a huge explosion. This mixture was called gunpowder. At first, gunpowder was only used for fireworks and celebrations. People loved the bright colors and loud sounds. But very soon, the Chinese military had a different idea. They created the fire lance, a bamboo tube filled with gunpowder, used as a weapon. It could shoot fire and small objects at the enemy. This was the very first ancestor of the modern gun. A simple accident had changed the world forever. By the 13th century, the knowledge of gunpowder traveled from China to the Middle East and then to Europe, and the Europeans were quick to realize its power. Around 1300 AD, the first metal-barreled handheld gun was invented. These early guns were heavy, slow, and honestly, quite dangerous for the person using them too. Sometimes, if the gunpowder was not loaded correctly, the gun would explode in the soldier's own hands. But the biggest development of this era was the cannon. The cannon was a massive gun, too big to carry, but incredibly powerful. It could destroy walls, buildings, and entire formations of soldiers in one shot. In 1453, the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II used giant cannons to destroy the walls of Constantinople. Those walls had stood for over 1,000 years, but they could not survive the cannon. The city fell, and history changed forever. The age of the sword was ending. The age of the gun was just beginning. Cannons were powerful, but they were too heavy for one person to carry. So engineers began working on smaller, portable guns that individual soldiers could use. By the 15th and 16th centuries, the musket was born. A musket was a long rifle that a soldier could carry on his shoulder and fire at the enemy. It was a huge step forward in personal weapons. However, there was one big problem. After every single shot, the soldier had to reload the gun manually, pouring in gunpowder, placing the bullet, and pressing it down with a rod. This process took almost 30 seconds to 1 minute. In a battle, that is a very long time. So soldiers would stand in long lines. One row fires, the next row reloads, the next row fires again. This strategy was called volley fire, and it was very effective. Battlefields became filled with smoke, noise, and chaos. War had never looked like this before. The 19th century brought a massive change, the Industrial Revolution. Factories and machines could now produce guns faster and cheaper than ever before. Guns were no longer just for kings and armies. They became widely available to ordinary people as well. In 1836, an American inventor named Samuel Colt patented the first revolver. A revolver had a rotating cylinder that held multiple bullets. No more reloading after every shot. Now a person could fire 6 times without stopping. This was a revolutionary change. Soon after, rifles also improved greatly in accuracy, meaning soldiers could now hit targets from much further distances. In the American Civil War of 1861 to 1865, these new and powerful guns caused a massive loss of life. Old tactics met new weapons, and the result was devastating. The world was learning, in the most painful way possible, just how dangerous the gun had become. By the time World War I began in 1914, guns had evolved dramatically. The machine gun was introduced, a weapon that could fire hundreds of bullets per minute without stopping. Soldiers hid in long, muddy trenches for months, unable to advance even a single step because of machine gun fire. This completely changed the nature of warfare. Battles were no longer quick and decisive. They were long, brutal, and terrifying. In World War II, guns became even more sophisticated. Semi-automatic and automatic rifles meant soldiers could shoot faster than ever before. Entire battles were won or lost based on the firepower of the two sides. Then, in 1947, a Soviet engineer named Mikhail Kalashnikov designed one of the most famous guns in history, the AK-47. The AK-47 was simple, reliable, and affordable, making it popular worldwide. Today, it is estimated that over 100 million AK-47s exist in the world. It became a symbol of modern warfare, conflict, and revolution across the globe. Today, guns are used in many different ways. Militaries use them to protect countries. Police forces use them to maintain law and order. Hunters use them for sport and food. In some countries, like the United States, citizens have have the legal right to own guns. In other countries, guns are strictly controlled or completely banned for regular people. But guns are also one of the most debated topics in the world today. People argue about safety, freedom, and responsibility. Some believe that people have the right to protect themselves with a gun. Others believe that more guns in society leads to more violence and danger. The debate continues, and there are no easy answers. One thing is certain, however, the gun has shaped human history more than almost any other tool ever invented. So today, we traveled through time, from ancient China to the modern world. We learned how a simple accident in a laboratory became one of the most powerful forces in human history. From the fire lance of China, to the muskets of Europe, to the AK-47 of the modern era, the gun has been with us for over 1,000 years, changing wars, changing politics, and changing lives. History is always fascinating, and learning English through history makes it even more interesting. I hope today you learned something new, not just about guns, but also about the English language. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more learning English videos. See you in the next one. Keep learning and keep growing.